Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Toria.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. Welcome back.
How did I know in the depths of my existence that you were going to start the podcast with welcome something like a loon bag?
Well, it is welcome back. We are back once again with an episode of the Reality Rant. And what's the name of the damn show, babe?
You love a mama's boy. But seriously, in my head, while I was waiting for you...
I love a mama's boy. Season 1, episode 4 is what we're going to talk about tonight.
Thanks for interrupting me, turd sandwich.
You kind of interrupted me before I interrupted you.
Well, you asked me a question, but then I wanted to say other things with my answer. Anyway, literally, as you were hitting the play button on the recorder, or the record button, I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if we started the podcast with welcome back? And then you did it.
All right. Well, now that we've killed the effect that welcome back had, we got to talk about these loon bags. But before we talk about the loon bag specifically, I think we should start and end the show with our opinion on overall what we saw. No specifics. We can talk about the specifics as we go through the people. Let's just kind of give a general opinion. So, I'll start this time. All right. Sometimes you'll start, sometimes I'll start. But this time I'll start because I kind of came up with the idea on the fly here. But I think it's a good one.
Anyway, let's get into it then.
All right. So you got a couple things I noticed that are in common here. You have women, i.e. the girlfriends / significant other, who are really in love with the mama's boy. Really in love with them.
They must be. They plan on marrying.
They are. Yeah. No, but I'm talking. It's not BS. It's not them talking. They're not in it because the person has money. They love that person. For sure, it is a real deal. Okay, so that's one thing you see. Because that explains why they're willing to put up with so much shit from the other side.
They really do.
Let's face it. Two people who have been raised by separate sets of parents coming together is a difficult enough thing to navigate, just those two people. When you have to start including his mother and what she thinks about you in the equation, things become completely disastrously messed up.
Well, exactly, because sometimes, in a relationship, you do what he wants to do, and sometimes you do what she wants to do, except he's getting 2 votes now instead of just 1.
Exactly. So, you start off this group, and we kind of go from who we think is the least annoying to who we think is the most annoying in order. Okay?
Right.
And the person at the top has been at the top every episode. This is the 4th one. So,
well, she really is the least annoying.
She's the one at the top. I'm talking the worst one, the last one.
She really is the most annoying.
She's the most annoying, and I don't think anyone will overtake her. It would take a shocker for someone to overtake her. But anyway, Stephanie and Mike and his mama, Liz. Now, remember, Liz is the health freak lady.
Right.
All right. So it opens, and they're playing basketball together, right? You remember that?
Yeah, and she was complaining at him that skiing was too dangerous, and she was offended that he was going skiing with his girlfriend.
Yeah, and before that, she complained that they don't spend enough time together.
She no longer calls him every night, just most nights.
Yeah, not every night, just most nights, exactly. And she didn't like that he took up skiing because she says that the death of his father made her be more careful about his choices. She has a chance to be deciding his choices.
Well, you do remember he tried to pick what he wanted for lunch in the previous episode, and she was like, "No, you're having this."
And then she tells him that she should always be number one with him. Always. Like his wife should not be number one.
You know what I was
She
impressed
should
by?
always be.
You know what I was impressed by? He argued with her about it.
Yeah, he told her that she needs to start to grow a little bit. I thought it was interesting. That's a guy that has potential to be an okay guy.
He has the most potential out of any of them to not be a mama's boy for the rest of time.
And I think that's why we keep putting him as the very first person we talk about, because that's obviously who we find the least offensive.
Well, and his mom is just being overprotective, like wanting him to be healthy, not wanting him to take major risks.
Yeah.
But he lives with his girlfriend, not with her, with his girlfriend. And she doesn't, like, I don't know, grossly involve herself in their intimate situations.
Yeah.
So that's why she gets to be least annoying.
Yeah,
My book.
I agree. I agree with you. But then we have, like, right in order here that I have my notes. It's kind of amazing because we agreed. Matt and Kim and his mama, Kelly.
And
now,
this is the people who all live with the blonde lady.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're building a house in his mom's backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm bad with names, people.
Right. They're building so, he's opens up and he's cooking dinner for the very first time, and mom is helping him make the dinner. Now, he cooked a full meal because he's never cooked a full meal because he always had dinner with his mom.
Right.
So, this is his very first time, they're planning to, like, build a house on the mom's property, okay? But what kills me is the mom, Kelly, wants to have a spare room for her in their house. So she decided that she wanted to come and, be there for a day, 2 days, 3 days. She could do it.
Rather than walking the 500 feet back to her own place.
To her own place, and letting them have at least some time alone together.
Right.
Newly married couple. Yeah, okay, sure. Very smart.
Well, and then as he was making the dinner, they kind of launched into that big old discussion. And the mom was supposed to be staying out of it, sitting off to the side. I don't even remember what they were discussing, but she had to, like, come over and pour herself a glass of wine and involve herself in their couple discussion.
Well, and, like, she's kind of, lives life on the edge, and mom is kind of the opposite of that, and when he was talking about what he did, like with the meal, he said, I finally showed that I can do something without my mom. But the reality is she helped him every step of the way.
Yeah. They were pretty insignificant in this episode because that was really all that we had.
Yeah. Well, and the other couple that was kind of insignificant was Justina and Jason with Annette.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were.
They're the ones who went to the dance class, and his mom was tangoing with him.
Yeah,
that's her son-mom dance.
Yeah,
a tango.
Yeah, so what?
It's essentially sex on a dance floor.
Who gives a flying flip?
Everybody but you, apparently.
I mean, think about it. If it was the man and some random woman, the man and, like, some woman from his work, or the man and some client of his, or the man and an employee of his, I could see you thinking that. But it's his damn mom.
I'm way more grossed out by sex on the dance floor with his mom.
You have to be disgusting to think that it was about sex with his mom. That's just disgusting. Like I said, I could understand if it was a random woman, but it's his mom.
Wow, he did not take that the right way at all.
Thinking that. Oh, that's gross.
Anyway, continue.
That grosses me out. Anyway.
Since apparently I'm wrong.
But what's crazy is that mom, without, like, talking to soon-to-be daughter-in-law, mom has all these plans for the mom and son dance. Doesn't consult the bride. It's, let's be real. There's two people whose wedding it really is. His and hers. It's not mom's.
Right.
It's not her mom's. It's not his mom's. It's not their parents. It's none of their family members. It's those two. That's who it belongs to. And I don't feel like things should happen without there being some agreement between those two people. Not some third party. And nobody gets to be a proxy. Like, that's just what, I don't know, that's the recipe for I didn't sign up for a relationship with her, man. I signed up for a relationship with you.
Every time this couple comes on, I see Asuelu and his mom when they first met, French kissing each other. Yikes.
You know, and like the dad even said he thought the tango was weird for a mom and son dance.
Well,
the dad said this. Wow.
That's because the tango
dad's on
is
your
sex
side.
on the dance floor.
The dad's on your side. And
Well,
I
and
think it's
he's
just disgusting
there.
to even have that thought.
He's there. You don't do a sexy salsa dance with your mom. You just don't do it.
Let me ask you a question, though.
No.
If mom was the one who suggested it to you, how do you tell mom no?
You don't do a sexy salsa dance with your son at his wedding. That's how I say no.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not going to argue. I can't argue with that. That's my motto these days. If I'm only arguing to argue, then I stop. It's no point. Only reason to argue with somebody is if you feel differently than they do and have a way to show why you feel differently. It can't just be I feel this way, or else there'd be a million fractured opinions.
You know what you don't feel differently about than I do? How this last couple plus mom is the freaking worst.
Yes. Are we talking about our good dear friend Emily and Shakib and the mom, Layla? Is that who we're talking about?
Well, yes.
Are we talking about the woman who I am nominating for MOMster of the Year? MOMster of the Year.
You know, in this
it's an award. Do you know what it's for? MOMster of the Year?
I'm sure you're about to tell us.
It's an award for in-law who is the worst.
Wouldn't that be Monster-in-Law of the Year?
It's just monster.
Anyway, you have to give some mad props to Shakib in this episode, though, because he stood up to her when she acted like a toddler.
Yeah, mom was like, let's fill people in, right? Okay, so mom is there. Mom has made it pretty clear she doesn't like Emily. And, in the last episode, her son, Shakib, kind of grew a pair and said, hey, mom, it's Valentine's Day. I should have some time alone with Emily.
Right.
And mom didn't like that. Mom told him she was going to cry and how sad she was.
And then she feigned an injury.
Then she went away and then she pretended to get an injury. And, first thing the girl said, which I thought was super reasonable, well, is she going to the hospital? Because if the answer is yes, you're just like, go for it, right? But if the answer is no, well, if it's not serious enough for her to go to the hospital, why is it so serious that we should end our plans for the night?
But so in this episode, it was the mom's birthday. And Shakib was there. And I don't know if it's his dad or if it's just his mom's husband, but dude was there. And they had some neighbor friends that were there. And they're all having her birthday party and she's having a great time and she has a slice of cake. And then Emily showed up to bring her a present. And Emily was super friendly and super polite.
Yeah.
Like she didn't do anything wrong.
She was so stereotypical, perfect etiquette.
Right.
Just showed up, very gracious. Thank you for having me here. Happy birthday. Here's a present for you.
Well, then the mom just went
and the mom was
full toddler.
Oh, Emily is ruining my birthday. How is she ruining her birthday, man?
Shakib mentioned she'd help pick out the cake, and then the mom threw the cake across the table and was like, she's going to try to poison me. Like, yo, bitch, you just ate a slice 2 minutes ago. If she was going to poison you, you're already dying.
And then it all heats up, right? And then mom is blaming Emily for being a child, but yet mom is acting like a child.
Well, and then Shakib grabs Emily and they leave, and he's like, Mom, you suck. I'm out.
And then she's like, no, I'm the one you love, Shakib. I'm the one you love. And if you leave the house, I am going to go die.
Right.
Well, then they cut to the dad outside, chasing him outside. And the dad basically says that, Emily makes Shakib happy. And as long as she makes him happy, he's happy with her.
Well, and then he chases them out the door and pushes Shakib to come talk to his mom again. So they go back in the house, and Shakib actually maintained his balls and took Emily back in the house with him. Like, he stood his pro-Emily ground.
Yeah, well, the mom was rude, though.
She called her a pig girl.
Yes. And she said that you make my life miserable. I don't want to see your face ever again.
What spectacular love is there?
Like, she's just crazy, you know, like crazy pissed at this girl.
Right. And then Shakib ends up getting pissed off again, and then Shakib and Emily leave. And the mom is just like crying and sniveling and whining and calling Emily a pig. And it's just like, lady, you ruined your own birthday. How about you take a chill pill and just don't talk to somebody if you don't like them?
Well, and you know what? We were both laughing and joking as they were leaving the house. And she was like looking at him like, is this for real? Like, is this really happening? You know, because he's never stood up to his mom for her before.
You want to know what I kept waiting for? Him to push Emily out the door and close it and lock it behind her.
Yeah, but he didn't do it. He went with her and she just had this look. And so we were joking about, you know, I'm sorry, people. We do, you know, warn you that this is insane conversation. So it's for, you know, people who are adults.
I looked over at Mike and I said, she's going to suck his dick so hard tonight.
And I said, well, you know what? Maybe take it a different route. Maybe there's something that he's been wanting to do that she won't let him. Well, she's going to tell him tonight it's okay. Like, that's what's going to happen. And it's crazy to think, but like, all she really wanted in this whole entire time, she's like, I'm willing to put up with all of this shit. I just need to know that there's a boundary with you and your mom. That's all she wanted to know.
Right.
And then once she sees the boundary, she just has to decide, am I happy with that boundary? You know, if I'm happy with that boundary, yeah, baby. Well, she's not happy with the boundary, or she wasn't. Because there wasn't one. He just let mom say and do whatever to her. And mom was so rude to her. Like you said, calling her a pig girl and, you know, you're trying to steal my son. I mean, shut up, lady. Like you're embarrassing your son. And, you know, who says this? Her son. Oh, you're embarrassing me, mom. Right? Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just beyond insanity to me that goes on between people, you know, like
it's that whole relationship is truly horrifying.
Yeah, it is so, what's the word that people use these days? Dysfunctional. I hate that word, by the way. I hate it. But it's so dysfunctional, their relationship. It's so dysfunctional.
That word? It's like a flaccid penis to the ears.
I know, I don't like the word, but it fit in that scenario, and only really that scenario for me. So like, you know, I had other things that we could say about these crazy birds, but I mean, I'm not even sure if it's that important. I mean, I think we've made our point, right? That, you know, mom is rude and obnoxious and hangs on and smothers the son too much. And son lets mom get away with too much, but finally has had hit the border. You know, everybody has their boundary, right?
Well, in the previews for the next episode, the mom is just going to get worse. So I have a depth of gut feeling that this mom is just going to get lower down in our standards. Like, she's just so crappy.
Yeah, because we saw the preview. That's right. That's right. And I mean, you know, to give kind of my overall final overarching opinion, not a single one of these moms is bothering to think about how they look when they do certain things.
Right.
And that is the actual problem. Because you can't blame a child when their parent offers a certain amount of support. You cannot blame that child for accepting that support.
Right.
The parent is supposed to know when it's not appropriate for them to step into the situation.
They're supposed to, but these ones sure don't.
But I mean, am I wrong? I mean, isn't that what a parent is supposed to do? I mean, like, I feel like with my own children, like, I only step in to reinforce things that are extremely important that they're saying. So they say X. I might be like, well, that's not that important. Don't need to say anything about that. They say X again. They say Y. I don't need to say anything. Then they say Z. Z's the right answer. And you tell them, people with Z, blah, 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 blah. And you show them that you support them. It doesn't take long before they figure out what your advice is. But the point here is you don't force them as a parent to do it your way. You merely make sure that they know what you think on the topic.
You make the suggestion, and then when they make a different decision, you just point and laugh.
As long as they know where you stand, they get to make their own decisions free of any kind of guilt. Period.
Right. I mean, you get to point and laugh. When it goes wrong, it's perfect.
Well, that's how you see it. I don't see it that way, but that's a story for another episode. Because, I don't know. I think these couples, like I said, show me one woman in there that's with the mama's boy that you don't think truly loves the mama's boy guy.
None of them.
Not a single one of them. Because, again, if you didn't truly love that guy, why would you put up with the mom?
Right.
The only reason you're putting up with the mom is because you love that guy and you've decided that you're willing to pay that price.
Now you've come full circle.
Yes, exactly. That
Go
was
team.
The whole idea. Air high five.
Now that we're in a circle.
And
we're going to wrap ourselves up in some blankets and go to bed. Good night,
everyone. I think
everyone.
that's a good idea. So, hasta your la bye-bye this time. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.